Nathan had entered the classroom that morning with heavy steps, his bag hanging loosely from his shoulder and dark circles following his eyes. Piewick had already been there, calm as always, watching his friends collapse into a chair. Nathan had spent the entire night in front of his computer, coding endlessly. 8 hours of frustration, and still his program refused to work.
He had tested it, recompiled it, read it over and over until the lines blurred before his eyes. The program crashed every time he ran it. He knew the presentation was due the next morning, and the thought of failing haunted him. Piewick had tried to reassure him, reminding him to breathe, to take a step back, but Nathan could only shake his head. There was no time left and no room for mistake.
Noon, the cafeteria was buzzing, but Nathan barely noticed. He sat alone, hunched over his laptop, his tray of untouched food growing cold beside him. His professor had passed by and, noticing his pale face, had asked if everything was alright. Nathan had simply murmured that his cold wouldn't work.
When he left, Nathan had dropped his head onto the table, drained of all hope. Julie, another student, had stopped by to help, scrolling through the code for a few minutes before throwing in confusion. Everything looked fine, she had said softly, hanging back the laptop.
By the afternoon, Nathan had retreated to the library. Piles of books and scribbled notes surrounded him like the wall of a fortress. The silence of the room pressed down on him. He went through the same motion again and again, typing, compiling, watching it crash, erasing, starting over. His finger trapped as he stared at the screen that refused to yield.
He had followed every tutorial, checked every variable, even perfected the indentation. The thought crept into his mind that maybe he simply wasn't good enough for this. His phone buzzed quietly beside him, a message from Piewick. Hanging there, you'll figure it out. Nathan had smiled faintly, wiped his eyes, and opened the laptop once more.
Evening had fallen by the time he found himself back in the computer lab. The lights were dim, most of the students long gone. Only the quiet hum of machines kept his company. He had been staring at the same pile for so long that the line of code seemed to shift and dance in front of his eyes.
Piewick eventually walked in, a soda can in hand, surprised to find Nathan still there. Without a word, he sat beside him and glanced at the screen. For a moment, he simply scrolled, his expression unreadable, then he laughed. Piewick pointed a single line, one missing semicolon. That was all.
Then slowly the absurdity of it all sank in, and laughter burst out of him.
Later that night, Nathan finally closed his laptop. The program ran perfectly. For the first time in 24 hours, he allowed himself to breathe. He realized how something so small, one missing semicolon, had nearly broken him. Piewick had been right all along. Sometimes you just had to step back. As he packaged his things, the lab now quiet and dark around him, Nathan smiled to himself. He had learned something more valuable than debugging. He had learned patience. In code, as in life, the smallest details could change everything.